This video brought to you by jadedpainting.com. If you need your miniatures painted to a tabletop standard, check out jadedpainting.com. Hey everyone, welcome back to this painting tutorial. As always, my name is Jay and I'll be showing you how to paint this Khador Conquest, one of the new Colossal models for Warmachine. So I continued on the gold areas of the model by giving them a shading, a black-brown shade comprised of a 1-to-1 mix of Agrax Earth Shade and non-oil. This shade will get in all the recesses and is not only give much definition to the gold areas, it will also give it a little bit darker, more worn out appearance, which is what we're going for with the gold areas. Plus golds being almost browns, a black-brown shade looks excellent in these areas. As with my previous shadings, though they don't take as long as the base coats, they did take a little bit of time, seeing as there were a lot of gold areas on the model. And as with the previous ones, if after a single shading you are unhappy with the depth of color, feel free to do a second one. Just make sure that the first shade is completely dry before proceeding to the second one. As you can see here, I'm just getting a really heavy shade, especially on the piping and the chimney parts. That way it'll give a much more worn out look. And it's areas like these that would be most likely the ones that would be worn out on the model. When the shade was dry, I highlighted all of these gold areas with Gehenna's Gold, a really nice warm reddish gold from Citadel. For most of these gold areas, I basically just used an overbrush technique and focused on the raised areas and the edges while leaving the recesses the really nice shade. This was especially important on the parts like the eyebrows and the face of the model, since you can allow the shade in all the dark circles. I really do like using an overbrush technique because it's a quick way to get a very nice solid gradient on these areas with very little work. Plus, as Gehenna's Gold is not the thickest color, the shade will still show a little bit under it and it'll create a really nice transition from the darks to the lights. So as you can see here, the edges are really starting to pop on these gold areas, and the lower areas are still that nice dark gold. And for this highlight, I typically just focused on the areas in which the light source would be hitting, so the tops of the knees and the legs, for example, but I purposely left the insides of the legs a little bit more dark since they would be shaded. And once again, as you can see, I'm just focusing on the raised areas of this gun turret and just getting the raised parts light gold. When the golds were done, I painted the eyes, starting with Averland Sunset. This will set a nice foundation for these areas. And since it's just the eyes, I'm not going to do any shading. I just went straight to a highlight in the very center of the eye, first with Aerial Yellow, and then second with Flash Gitz Yellow. And each time just focusing more in the center of the eye. And then finally, I did some smoke and dirt effects on the model with gray liner once again, that really dark matte gray. It's great for showing smoke damage on the chimneys, as well as just a dark gray darkening on the feet and on the shield and the hands. So as you can see here, just use an airbrush and just quickly spread a little bit on the edges of the shoulders and the legs and the shield, and it produced a really nice just smoking and dirtying effect on these areas very quickly. Another effect that you could use is chipping with silvers and everything. I just wanted to keep this model a little bit more pristine, seeing as the client wanted it to be a bit pristine, just a little dirty. And besides that, in very good shape. One of the newer, I guess, Khador Conquests. And you can see here, I'm just spraying the gray liner between the chimney parts. And that's it. You now know how I painted up this Khador Conquest Colossal. And here's what the model looked like when it was completely painted up. Overall, you can see that it turned out, I think, really nicely, and I think it's going to look amazing on the tabletop. I went with just a simple snow base, and I think it looked really nice. It was a lot of fun to paint, and I really enjoyed painting these new Colossals. So please like the video, leave comments in the comment section down below, please favorite the video, and subscribe to my channel if you already haven't done so. It really does help a lot. So until next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting, everyone.